I always remember I was sent home from Thailand for having a brawl on pre-season tour. The manager was Stu Pearce at the time, and they told me about this Sporting Chance organisation, which, I was really very sceptical to go. If I'm honest, I didn't want to go. I thought I'm just a normal lad, I have a drink and getting a punch up every now and again. But isn't that normal for like sort of young buck? Where I'm from, it's quite normal. I had just had visions in my own mind of going, and it was like, a scene from sort of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, all people in straitjackets, and I was like, all right, I've had a fight, but I'm not like mental. So in the lag period between that and me going and seeing the board, there was a thing I was going to be fined 4 weeks or 6 weeks' wages at the time. So the chairman of the club said, look, if I go to Sporting Chance for a week, they'd give me 2 of them weeks back, so I'd only be fined either. So I'd lose 2 weeks fine. So I've sort of done the maths and thought, well, it was a no-brainer really. So I said, well, yeah, I'll go, So I went down for this anger management program course, and I remember like being very sceptical, and then just little bit by little bit, I was like, oh, this feels good, And I remember after that week's period coming back to the club, and I felt like, I know it'll sound strange, but I felt like a weight had been lifted off me. It was almost like it was almost like that. It was almost like whatever I'd been carrying around for the X amount of years it took to get me there, I'd like found a way to get rid of some of it, But I never stopped drinking. I always said it's not the problem with drink, it's the problem of the environment I'm in. I always said, well, I'll be all right if I go out and, like, I know these things now. I was armed with these tools of sort of behavioural tools, and I thought I'd be all right. And they were like, well, they can't say to you, look, you can't do this. It's for you to sort of realise. So I was like, nah, I'm all right. If I just drink beer, I'm all right. It's when I mix it with shots and stuff, and that's when I get in trouble. So I bamboozled my own brain into thinking that was all right. I mean, looking at that from the outside, it's sort of perverse kind of thought. I think all the times you've been in trouble leading to that point have been when you've been pissed. To think that you're not going to get in trouble, but you're still pissed is just, it's a strange way of thought, but that's where I was at.
But then you stopped drinking, and you've been teetotal for 2 years?
Well, that was only because I got arrested and went to jail, and I thought, like, enough's enough. Like, this drinking, like, sort of, costing me a lot of money. I mean, it was costing me, my last night out probably cost me about 500 grand, plus my reputation, I mean, I must have been as close as you can get to self-destruct, so, I mean, you just say, is it worth it? Now, is it worth, for the sake of going out and having a pint, is it worth taking yourself into that zone where you could self-destruct?
But just because some people won't know, I mean, you look down the list of trouble that you've been in over the years, and I mean, it goes from inciting a 10-man brawl, stubbing a lit cigarette in the eye of Jamie Tandy, breaking the leg of a 35-year-old pedestrian, slapping a teenage fan, biting a teammate, dropping your shorts, assaulting a team mate, Usmain Darbo, attacking a 16-year-old boy. It's quite a list that you've clocked up over the years.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I mean, that's the stuff people know about as well, which, obviously there'd be stuff that I got away with, and that's the way of I mean, I'm very, very fortunate that it was because of my profile and because of the job I do, and I'm in the public eye, that this was addressed, and I was forced to address my issues. I mean, I had 2 choices, basically. Either you carry on doing what you're doing and your career's gone, or you'd address it, and...
What is it, though? Because you're blaming the alcohol in part, but this is something that seems to affect a lot of footballers and sportsmen, particularly footballers, whether it's alcohol...
I think rugby's worse than football.
Do they have the same problems off the pitch? I mean, some of your problems have been with...
I mean, they do. I mean, I think all sports will have it. I mean, all men will have problems with a number of things. I mean, because we're a sort of working class game, and we're lads who've a majority of the time have come from nothing, and all of a sudden are seen by society to be paid obscene amounts of money. It's like, well, you shouldn't do that. What they forget is, basically, whether you're the best footballer in the world, or the best golfer, or the best cricketer, you're a human being. You might be good at that, but you might be crap at life. I didn't want to be famous. I love football and want to play football. And obviously, you knew you were going to earn an okay living out of it, but I'd have played for nothing, I mean, I would have played if I hadn't made it as a footballer, you know, I wasn't lucky enough to have made it, I would have played Sunday League. I'd be playing now with my friends. I'd be playing five-a-side, or I'd be doing what any other lads are doing who haven't quite made the grade. It was never for me about the cars, the women, the money, whatever people perceive it to come with. It was always about the football. You know, and I'm very thankful to the media of this country, because if it wasn't for them vilifying me in the papers, I may never have addressed this issue. So I'm very, very thankful that they forced me, by shaming me, to address my issues. You know, I may never have grown up. I may have my career up the wall, you know.
Seriously, all the stuff, them going through your bins, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not ideal, you know. I mean, it isn't. I mean, I don't know what they were looking for. I mean, anyone will tell you this, I'm not the most lively person. I'm quite a simple bloke at heart, you know.
Do you think it's getting worse in terms of what fans are, the provocation from fans, what they are saying to you and shouting at players?
I mean, it's not nice, you know. I mean, it's stuff that if someone said to you in the street, you know, you'd probably have a big issue with it. I was saying then about when I played at the Emirates, I'd been banned by the FA, or I was about to get banned for the Dabo incident, and I played I was warming up alongside the touchline, and a guy actually shouted to me that he was going to slit my throat, and I turned around to look at him because I was like, that's a strange thing. And he was saying, if I see you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I was like, the reason you're sort of doing that is because I've been involved in trouble, and yet your way of dealing with that yourself is to tell me you're going to slit my throat. And there was children and women around them, and it was like, no one said to him, hang on a minute, you've gone a bit far there. It was like, oh, it's all right, he's shouting at a football, so it's like normal. Which is, it's the same as the sort of racism. When people shout racist things, they think they can condone it by saying, well, he's a footballer, it's all right. You know, they forget you're a person, you know, you're a human being. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't go in, you know, a lot of stuff I sort of embrace and think, you know, I'm the sort of pantomime villain and the buoy, and it's like, you know, I think people who've met me just realise I'm a sort of down-to-earth kid, and, you know, I'm not sort of what I'm perceived to be by the media. You know, there's a media sort of, the way they portray me, and there's the way I actually am. I mean, and I understand. I mean, obviously I don't help matters, and I obviously pour fire on the flames at times. You know, I show my arse to Everton fans and stuff like that. It doesn't help. But anyone who takes time to get to know me and really wants to know you, really, as a person, not as a footballer, knows that you're a decent guy deep down.
But what about the way that some footballers behave? Do they deserve some of the flack they get? Do they have people around them saying, you shouldn't be behaving like that?
Well, you know, most footballers, and I know this is going to probably carry a bit, but most footballers are knobs, you know. I mean, I meet a lot of them, and they're just so detached from real life, it's untrue. But then my brain sort of goes to, oh, well, how's that happened, you know? I mean, obviously there's been a stage when I've been like that, you know. And you think, you know, nowadays you've got, I mean, I signed for the club when I was 8, 9, went through the sort of academy, went straight from school into a YTS scholarship, pro scholarship. So really, I've never really lived in the real world. You know, it's only the fact that I'm grounded by the trouble I've been in that's forced me to come away from being in the football world. You know, and you're growing up in that environment where as long as you're a good player, you're told you're the best all the time, or this is great, that's great. I mean, you can dress it up whichever way you want, but, you know, driving around in sort of flash cars and changing them like they're your socks, and wearing stupid diamond watches and spending your money like it's going out of fashion in the midst of a sort of recession in this country, when people are, you know, barely struggling, you know, in some cases to sort of put food on the table for the kids, is not the way to do it, you know. So I understand why people look at us. I mean, most people meet me and say to me, not footballers, like they're just knobs, and I say, yeah, you're right, you know. I was earning at 20 more than probably, you know, the rest of my family were earning a week, and yet I was I didn't even know how to behave, you know. I was still a child. I'd been in that world where I'd never grown up. It's like a Peter Pan world, you know. It's like there's always an agent who'll sort your contract out, or they'll sort your mortgage out, or they'll sort your house out, or your car insurance, or the club will have people who sort of find you. You never have to do anything for yourself if you don't want that.
Joey Barton, thank you very much.
Thank you.